E1, E2, E3.
Let's go.
And break.
Started. Man, we've done one of those in a while, haven't we? That's crazy.
You know what? I'm gonna take this one because JR is deep breath, yoga breath. This dude's gonna be talking for some while. He is JR Cabacungan, aka the Dark King, at also not JR Comics 42. And he is gonna get us kickstarted here in just a second. This is episode number 49 of PS Comics. I love you. And it's the official
49.
What's it? Actually 49. It is the official pop culture podcast of KRP Broadcasting. We bring you comic books, movies, news, video games, and all of that in between.
Yep.
At least once a week. We try to at least. And I am the voice of reason at Voice of Reason 23 on all social media platforms. And this, my friend, is the E3 episode. We didn't get to do one last year. Reason being, we kind of hadn't really hit our stride. We didn't know what we were doing with this particular show. And so yeah, E3 kind of came and went last year, and we didn't do anything.
Actually, it was good that it came and went because it was actually canceled last year.
That's right. They didn't even do a digital one last year.
It was one of the very first events that was canceled, during the the coronavirus shutdown here in America. And yeah, so E3 technically didn't happen because they were all set up to be in LA, right, to set up an actual event there, and they just called off. And so rather than it was just too short of a time for them to kick things into possibly being some type of a stay-at-home event. So yeah, so it kind of worked out for us technically because we didn't, E3 was canceled. A lot of things were canceled last year, which is sad to say because of coronavirus. But for us specifically in this context, yeah, we didn't do it because that happened. But other than that,
well, Jer, I think we should waste no time and you get us going. I got to step away just for a second though.
Cool. I will. I'll fill you in when we get back. So guys, yeah, so definitely for those who have noticed or haven't noticed, E3 is actually happening right now, and it is a much different version of E3 where before it was like 4 days, right? It would start on somewhere between a Thursday and on a Sunday, and well, not on a Sunday, but and on a Monday or Tuesday or something like that, right? Where the smaller developers, smaller publishers, they take those time slots. While the big ones, your Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony, they would have the bulk of the big show days. Like either that be, I think it was either Sunday or Saturday that they would have it, right? And so it's of course obviously changed a little bit because of coronavirus, because the coronavirus is going on. And now they're doing this some semi-different where Nintendo and Microsoft, since Sony's pulled out of E3 entirely, as far as we know, it is now just between as the big publishers, the big heavyweights, Nintendo and Microsoft. Microsoft has just had their conference on Sunday with Bethesda, and Nintendo is going to have their conference tomorrow, where we're actually recording right now on a Monday, and Tuesday will be technically the last day of E3, and we will hopefully get to that podcast and that information what happens on Tuesday, possibly on our Wednesday show when we do another show of Loki, or maybe we'll probably shift that back to the Sunday podcast. But other than that, guys, the things that happened this week in E3. Oh, good God, there's a lot of it. There is a lot of it. Just to start off, man, E3 technically started around Wednesday, kind of off with a bang, honestly, because EA Dice came in and EA kicked the doors through, and they are okay. I'm glad EA's back. Battlefield. Well, it's subjective, sure, but like a Battlefield where they have take it back to the modern day. As fans of Battlefield have noticed that the last two iterations, came from World War One, which was Battlefield 1, and World War II, which was Battlefield 5. Those were the last two iterations of the games. Now we're gonna have a full game that is gonna I think still gonna be cross-gen, and it's gonna go from your last generation consoles, your PS4s and Xbox 360s, to current gen, which is PS5, Xbox Series X series, right? And Yeah, it looks good. Looks really good, honestly. It's called Battlefield 2042, Return to more modern setting from legendary developer DICE. And that hopefully, knock on wood, there isn't controversy gonna be sheared up, gonna be geared up towards. Hopefully there's no controversy at all because
Yeah.
for those who know or who are in the know of what's happened last time with Dice, is that uh Kevin, do you know what Battlefield 5 was about? The game?
You know, I I don't. It's been a while since I've played a Battlefield game. I'm looking at your notes.
Yeah,
Um, so
I-
Battlefield One took place in
in
World
World
War
War One.
One,
Yeah, about
and then now
which is
Battlefield Five is World War
five,
Two.
which is weird because I don't know why they call technically Battlefield 1 is actually the fourth game. It's weird, right? They just call it one for
Interesting.
yeah. It's like how Xbox One is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Don't even get me started with the naming.
yeah. I said Xbox 360 earlier. I meant Xbox One, and so it's yeah the weird naming thing. So it went from Battlefield 5, which is called One, to Battlefield 4, which was One, to Battlefield 5. I think there was a Battlefield 4. There was a Battlefield 4. I apologize that. So I forgot which actual iteration installment it was. But yeah, but with Battlefield 5, there was a controversy. There was a bunch of controversies by people saying that it wasn't historical, it wasn't accurate. They had during one of the very extravagant CG moments, I think, yeah, CG moments or in-game engine moments, where one of the soldiers, a female soldier, was I think she had a
Yeah.
metal arm, right? No arm in place. They're jumping through windows. Someone had a samurai sword, and like even though they're fighting in France, so like, how's that historically accurate? And there was a big hubbub about it, and that really just really sank the traction of the game. And Battlefield 5 has been, though a good game, has been mired in obscurity because of the controversies over there. Hopefully, with Battlefield 2042, which is going to be the semi-modern day, a little more near the future because it is 42. Hopefully it'll just be about gameplay because from what I'm seeing and from hearing is that they're doing away with the campaign mode. A funny thing that if I remember correctly,
Interesting.
which is funny to me because I think I remember Dice a couple years back, they really freaking they roasted Activision, or yeah, they roasted Activision for doing the exact same thing with their Call of Duty game. I think it was Call of Duty Blackout. Yeah, I remember that, or Black Ops 4, and and now they're doing it. So we're now in that kind of mode. But yeah, there was a scissor reel that happened around where a lot of crazy things that you could only find. A lot of crazy things happens, like ATV being thrown off this tower going into a helicopter. That actually happens in the game. Other bunch of the crazy stuff's happen, and so we'll be seeing live game, super like full on live gameplay. Well, technically there is gameplay of it, but like a full on live game match because now they're upping their player count from 62 or 64. No, from 64 to 128. The first time the game has done that, I think. Yeah, 64 to 128. So it's very, very substantial. Hopefully, it's a much wider map, much bigger map, and I'm actually excited for it. Release date for that is October 22, 2021, this year. So I will definitely let you know how that game goes. Any questions?
No, and I it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since I've played first person shooters or stuff like
Mm.
that. And I know Battlefield, I think I played like I think we had, like, I used to work at Best Buy.
Yeah.
We had a game night. And I think I tried Battlefield like one time, and and it was okay. There were certain
Yeah.
aspects of it that I enjoyed.
Mhm.
I remember it being, correct me if I'm wrong, I think compared to Call of Duty, Battlefield was a little bit more physics based. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
again, it's been a while since it's been a hot minute since I've played
Yeah.
any kind of first person shooter.
Yeah.
And I'd give it another shot. Like I said, Call of
Yeah.
Duty was like the last thing I played, and that was probably when I got my PS3 the
Yeah.
first time. It's been a hot minute since I've
Yeah.
really got dived headfirst into
Yeah. Yeah, the Battlefield to Call of Duty comparisons only come from like in the sense of like, well, they're both first person shooters, right?
yeah.
While now it's they have honestly kind of direct themselves different. They differ themselves in certain ways. Where like Battlefield has like certain character sets you can use. You can be a medic, you can be a sniper, and you can be a person who I think just uses straight up just the ARs, and these are just class settings where and you have certain guns attached to those classes that you can't get in any other class. While in Call of Duty, everything is just there for you, and so it's easier to say that Call of Duty is the more mainstream version of the game, while Battlefield has been for a very long time about what a though it is mainstreamish to a certain extent. It's like, okay, you have a battlefield, literal battlefield. You have tanks in it. You have cars in it. You have a huge ass map. You have multiple points of interest where you could have like 30 players fighting in one area of the map, 10 players fighting another area of the map, and then more so here and there. Right? It's a huge skirmish. I play the hell out of Battlefield 4. I play the hell out of Battlefield 1, and yeah. It's always been known about the game. Battlefield has always been known for its destruction and its crazy moments that could happen. So I didn't get into Battlefield 5 because one, the BR, the battle royale genre has really taken over, and I just been into like modern warfare. So or no, into not Blackout. Yeah, I did play Blackout, but there's a Warzone. There you go, Warzone. Then Call of Duty Warzone, and I've just been into that. Hopefully hopefully Battlefield will get me back into possibly just playing more of the strategic um Warzone s not Warzone, but like full on Battlefield as type of game. But moving onwards, another game that I'm super excited about just released. I think I released his first trailer after it was announced a couple of years ago. Man, Elden Ring. For those who don't know, Elden Ring, they're from a very world-renowned Japanese studio from Software. They finally lift the curtains to the creators of the Soul series and the Game Awards 2019 Game of the Year, Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. Now, I've actually asked Kevin this question prior, just before we actually started the show, if he knows anything from Software or anything from the Souls Dark Souls series games. I think he said no.
I didn't. I mean, I know that a few of these names that
Mm,
are involved with this franchise, I'm
mm.
somewhat familiar with. Was it Hidaka?
Hidetaka.
Hidetaka Miyazaki.
Miyazaki. Yeah, Miyazaki.
Miyazaki, and of course George R. R. Martin, of course, is the godfather behind the Game of Thrones franchise.
Hmm.
No, I've heard of Hidetaka. I feel like I just saw that name
Pretty
somewhere
sure.
uh recently, and so
Pretty
I'm
sure
I'm
you
just
did.
starting to familiarize my names
Yeah.
more regularly with
Mm, yeah.
the big names from Japanese gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And this particular series from Software has been. For those who don't know the Soul series, I'm pretty sure people do in a certain regard. The Soul series like this very soul crushing game where it punishes you for mistakes like severely, but you keep on going back to it. And it's a lot of the games are based on a medieval setting, on a Middle Earth type of setting where you are a knight, a certain knight, or the PS4 exclusive Bloodborne where you are some type of beast hunter, some type of like you're in a French coat, French Duster coast, and you look freaking badass, honestly. And then yeah, it's a uh it's a very hard game to say the least, right? And so they just released this gameplay trailer where it shows this huge massive world. Now granted, this is a Japanese developer, and uh I'm just gonna say, just say it, man. I got love for my Japanese developers, but you definitely know a Japanese game, right? Well, you definitely know it's a Japanese game just by the art style and just by the graphical settings, right? And I say that with all respect. And definitely, I'm pretty sure my boy here can attest to that. I just made him watch a trailer before we went on there. How a lot like that Japanese game, they tend to look old, but they're more focused on art style than they are on graphical fidelity nowadays, right? And that's fine. For me, that's fine because it's more so about the gameplay, it's more so about the mechanics and everything you have involved. Now, everything from Software is all about that mechanics, and so the Elden Ring, it's supposed to come out, I think, Put it out January 21st, 2022. There's some gameplay about it. If fans of this show and fans of the game has ever played, has gotten their feet wet into any type of Soul series or any type of like Dark Souls. Hell, I was gonna buy Demon Soul, which is a PS3, which was a PS3 exclusive, and now they remade it into PS5. I was just about to buy that, and yeah, it's what you're getting into. So that is probably, honestly, might be my game of the show so far. Now going back to that, I'm hoping this. Did you watch this the next thing we're talking about?
The next one is Evil Dead, the
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yep.
I did not, but I'm a little intrigued.
It's interesting. I'll just say the most. It's interesting. It's uh for those who have played, it gives me the vibes. I don't know if you've seen this game either. It gave me the vibe of dang it, what's that one? What's the movie with Jason Voorhees?
Halloween,
Friday the 13th. Sorry.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th, right? There's a video game came out just a couple years ago called Friday the 13th. It gives me that type of vibe, right? You have where someone could play Jason and you're like, like 5 or 6 like camp counselors or whatever, right? This is kind of the opposite where you are 3 heroes and you of course one's Ash. You Ash and 3 heroes, right? From the movies. And you face off against the Deadites and you face off against all these other things. And it's kind of like a task oriented thing. Now, you can play co-op or you can play versus another player where they play a Deadite. So it looks cool. It's supposed to be. It was announced back in October and it's supposed to set to release this year. I honestly at this point I gotta see more to see what to see what it's really about. But it's definitely on my list. Now more games. Now the I I gotta be honest. I had to really cut down the script for this
Yep.
show. We're only on 4 pages, right? I think I had 8 to 9, just because of the amount of freaking games that was announced and the amount
There's
of
been,
freaking
there was a lot announced.
dude.
YouTube really has been on overload for like the
Yeah,
last 2 or 3 days between the prediction shows on Thursday and Friday on IGN and CNET. I know that Nerdist was doing some things. So it's really been the social media out there has been really kind of
yeah,
buzzing.
mhm,
So and like I said, my YouTube feed was just flooded with E3 stuff all
yeah,
day, Saturday and Sunday.
yeah, man.
But moving right along, where we at? Ubisoft, is that where we're
Yeah,
at?
we're actually at no the games that were announced release gameplay. I'm just gonna name just a bunch of games. Just I'm just gonna name them. House of Ashes, game from Supermassive, and they made Until Dawn and Dark Pictures Anthology. They released a trailer. Solar Ash gameplay, which is supposed to be a PS5 exclusive. That looks really freaking cool. I'm interested in that one. For me, it looks like Jet Set Radio and Shadow of the Colossus. Tales of Arise, another entry into the Tales series, old school RPG series, and it's looking like they're gonna continue. I think it's like maybe if it might be their like 17th, oh no, like 12th or 13th entry. So it's a big one. My personal favorite, even though I just said Elden Ring might be my game of the show. Kena Bridge of Spirits. This thing right here, right? This is Kena Bridge of Spirits right here. My wallpaper, right? Pixar esque animation.
Yeah, as I say, it has very kind of a Pixar sound look to it.
Pixar esque animation. And like they show gameplay. They show how it looks. It looks friggin' beautiful. It was first announced when they did the PS5 reveal, right? Way back when. And yeah, I've been super excited about it. The people who make this actually make CG movies. They made commercials for Coca-Cola. They made commercial for Heising. They made like a bunch of animated shorts, right? And now they're doing jump into video games. And so far looks a phenomenal first shot. Sifu gameplay trailer. That looks like a PS5 exclusive as well. That like it's reminds me of old school, like the old school PS2 game with Jet Li, where it's very frantic, fast paced action martial arts type of stuff. Argami 2 gameplay trailer. That game reminds you of freaking Tenshu. You're basically a ninja. What more can you
Mm.
say? And now going to Ubisoft, my dude. I can't be talking more than more than 20 minutes without your input.
Well, I was really interested because I right off the bat,
Yeah.
gameplay and season pass trailers for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Rainbow Six Siege, Rainbow Six Extraction,
Yep.
and Far Cry 6, just to name a few.
Yep.
But the one that kind of jumped out at me, and they're really kind of pushing at a Ubisoft, was the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is gonna, again, wink wink nudge nudge, this is kind of a foreshadowing for JR's rant of the week. um I'm kind of with JR on this one. I couldn't quite tell if it was gameplay or CGI. Now we know that the world of Pandora
Yeah.
is obviously just, it's a CG masterpiece. I mean, that's really in 2008.
Yeah.
You know, James Cameron once again raised the bar for computer graphics and for
3D.
animated storytelling. I mean, James Cameron goes as far
Yeah.
back. When I was talking to a friend of mine, that I said, I can think of two movies that revolutionized the computer graphics interface, the CGI world in movies and video games, and both of them are James Cameron movies.
Mm-hmm.
You look at going as far back as Abyss, James Cameron's first movie, dealing with liquid form, and then of course the probably on the Mount Rushmore of not only computer graphics for a movie, but probably one of the greatest summer blockbusters of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking Mount Rushmore of action films, and that is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Those two movies took filmmaking to a completely different level. And it had it been not for Abyss and T2, I honestly think that games, like first off, we wouldn't get Avatar.
No.
We probably wouldn't have gotten Titanic. I mean, maybe we've got a Titanic, but probably not as good at the time. Maybe the CGI doesn't hold up as well, but Lightstorm, which is James Cameron's company, wouldn't be able to progress and do the things that they're doing. And it's really kind of a testament to the game that you can't tell the difference between if this is a CGI trailer or gameplay. But at the same time, as JR will point out here in a little bit, that game developers have really painted themselves into a corner because all they show at these conventions is they don't show game footage. They just show a CGI game trailer to tease what could be gameplay. I saw some clips of Avatar. I think it's a bit of both. It looks pretty cool. I think this game is coming out to help promote the next. I think it's next 5 movies.
Yeah.
I think the next one doesn't come out until December of 2022, unfortunately. For you fans of was it the Wanabi or the what were they called, the Avatar people?
I forgot that.
But did they say yet when this game is supposed to come out? I didn't get to see the full trailer. I just saw clips.
No, I didn't say anything either, man. But yeah, I'm.
One would have to assume it's going to be in conjunction with the release of Avatar 2, which is again set for holiday of 2022.
Yeah.
But no, it looks it's a possibility, and I think that a movie franchise like Avatar probably will translate well into a video game.
Yeah. Here's hoping it does. It's more so like it's good to see that if Avatar was made into a game quickly after, well, there wasn't actually an Avatar game after the movie, right? Because EA and they have a tendency to do that. But if this version of Avatar was made post release of the Avatar movie, I don't think it will be as polished or have the same possible elements that it will have in this game now right now, because like how everything has a lot of like ideals and tropes and motifs have happened throughout gaming just in the last 10 years. And hopefully we will see more of the common like game mechanics, game metas being transferred into Avatar, because I would think that this game would probably be an open world type of game where it's a possibility that if there's bases, military bases from the Terrans, right, us, right, they can go out, and you as an avatar, I forgot the people, yeah, the people, the you as an avatar can go to these bases and liberate the bases, right? Very much like what Far Cry does, and very much what like a bunch of other games do, right? And I don't think if that game was if that this version of the I don't think this version of this game would be made if it didn't if it if it didn't if it wasn't made today type of thing, right? Like
Yeah.
this version of the game and the way they're making it is because of the trends and everything that has happened since Avatar. So it's a good thing. It's I think it's a good, definitely a good stepping point. Hopefully it'll feel very much like a Ubisoft game, if that makes any sense, right? Like very much like a Far Cry game, very much like you're in the jungle, you are a 9 foot humanoid being,
Yeah.
type of thing. So I'm hoping that a lot of the traits that you see within a Ubisoft game will be in a Far Cry game. Now going back to Ubisoft, yeah, Rainbow Six Extraction. It has to, the characters in Rainbow Six Siege transition into Extraction, and you're fighting against aliens. Sounds cool. Sounds cool.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds pretty cool. Far Cry 6 happened, and we talked a lot about Far Cry 6. And I think it had the trailer to I forgot his name, man. Moff Gideon's name. I forgot his actual name.
Oh my goodness. I just had it too.
I know. I just
We were
lost
just
it.
talking about him last week.
Yeah, so it irritates me. But yeah, he had a character trailer out. But the biggest thing during that whole docket of
Esposito.
Ubisoft, Espita, yeah, Giancarlo, Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. So he had his villain character had a trailer. But the biggest thing for me, the most interesting for me, was the Far Cry 6 season pass trailer, where in it there was a DLC where you played as the past villains. And that really, I thought that was really cool, because like I grew up on Far Cry, I think 4, no, Far
Yeah.
Cry 3. I grew up on Far Cry 3, 4, and 4. I played both of those. I missed 5, and this is 5 was the crazy Bible fanatic guy who thought the nukes would drop into America. Yeah. I remember that. Now I remember that one. But yeah, Far Cry 3. You played the main villain there was Bass, and he was a freaking great character. You play as him in his crazy psychedelic freaking psychopath mind, and you play as the main villain in Far Cry 4. No, Far Cry 4. And I forgot his name too. No, I played it so long ago. But yeah, it feels very much like the same Ubisoft and Far Cry makers that released Blood Dragon. For those who don't know, Blood Dragon, that was DLC for Far Cry 3, and that was this freaking retro 1980s, like everything corny and cheesy that you found in 1980s, like electric guitars and blood and dragons and stuff, right? And like heavy death metal music was in the game, and I freaking loved it. I freaking loved it, dude. So yeah, I'm hoping it's more of that. So yeah, and now from that we transitioned into Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. They came out with trailers today too. The game officially launched a couple of days ago. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is created by Insomniac Games, makers behind Ratchet Clank, of course, the Ratchet Clank series, and the 2018 mega hit Spider-Man, and its newest iteration, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, your boy, before the taping of this episode, went out to Target and bought Ratchet
There
and
you
Clank.
go.
I was debating on whether or not I should buy it, but I watched the breakdown from Digital Foundry last night on this game, and they say this is the game. This is the staple point game of what the next generation should be. They said like, okay, cool. This is the reason why you bought a $500, hopefully, if you were lucky enough, PS5 or Xbox Series X. Well,
Yeah.
in this case, a PS5. So this is the reason why you bought it. Like everything from its graphical settings, everything from like how it runs, how it's smooth mostly throughout the game, right? There are a couple dips here and there, but nothing too crazy. And yeah, that sold me on the game. I bought it at Target, and for right now, I'm telling you guys right now, there's a buy two get one free. Sadly, this game did not get the buy two because it's a new release type of thing. I might be going back, spending more money. It's stupid, I know. It is not an ad.
They got
Just
you. They
saying.
got you right where they want you.
I'm just saying for those of us, for the very lucky few who have a PS5 or still have a PS4, there is a buy two get one free. There's a buy two get one free promo going out right now for all, at least for PS4 games. I don't know about Xbox games, but yeah, I loved it. I'm gonna play through. I'm gonna play through all the DLCs of Spider-Man first, and I'm gonna play through. I'm gonna finish Miles Morales, and then I'm gonna
Yeah,
play Ratchet and
I'm
Clank.
working on that. I probably put in a good hour or two.
Yeah.
Yesterday, my son and I were playing.
What you think,
You
man?
know,
What you
I
think?
really like it, and I honestly, this is coming from someone who doesn't have a PS5, obviously, but I don't think I'm missing anything. I think
Mm,
that they did a really good job at keeping
mhm.
it clean, making not messing too much with what made the Spider-Man game from 2018 so good, but at the same time
Okay.
making this Miles Morales game their own.
Okay.
I do love the incorporation of the hip hop
Mm,
into it, much like um, the Miles Morales, the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse
mm,
cartoon
mm.
does. Kind of incorporates a little bit of hip hop,
He's from Harlem.
and
Of course he is.
what's that?
He's from Harlem.
Well,
Originally Miles Morales
he's
from.
from.
He's now in Bronx, but he's originally from Harlem.
I think it's the other way around. He's from the Bronx. He's living in Harlem now.
Oh yeah,
At least that's the game. That's from my understanding, is that they moved
yeah. Oh no, yeah.
to
In the game, it's
in
different
the
because
game.
like
Yeah.
his father, his father passed. In the For those spoilers, Miles' father was killed in the game, and so
In the original Spider-Man game, yeah.
the original Spider-Man game, and then his mother then began to run for mayor, and they moved from Bronx to Harlem.
Yeah.
But in 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 both, I think, yeah, in both the Into the Spider Verse and in comics, they're still living in the Bronx,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly. So
Anyways, no, I'm really enjoying the game. And I got to the point where, well, I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to go any further. Anyways, I highly recommend it. And by the way,
yeah,
there was at least a couple of weeks ago a deal on Amazon
hmm,
for the PlayStation 4 version for about $45. You can get the PlayStation 4 version with the upgrade to the PS5 version. Of course, the PS5 version is a digital only download.
yeah,
So you're obviously going to have that version of the PlayStation 5, which
yeah.
I guess part of me goes, hey,
I'm just great.
I'm that's kind of the direction to go. But then I'm realizing, man, freaking hard drive space on a video game system goes by quick.
Bro, I just tell you this. When COVID finally slows down, I'm coming over with my PS5. I'm gonna show you why. One of the reasons why. Because like, okay, so uh, even Spider-Man, right? Even the Spider-Man remastered version for PS5 and Miles Morales, there's no loading times. There's virtually no loading times.
Nice. I will
Like,
say that that I will go back. There is no sacrifice on graphics. They have
yeah,
done a fantastic job with Miles
yeah,
Morales. The loading times on the PS4 version are a quarter.
horrendous,
Huh?
horrendous.
I was gonna say they're quick.
Really on PS4?
On the PS4, it's a quarter of the time it takes on the original Spider-Man game.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay,
I am
okay.
telling you, is like usually I'd have to hit, like, just to keep myself,
Mm,
I'm a little fidgety. I'll hit the triangle that kind of
mm.
throws through all the tips.
Yep.
And I will usually go around the horn a couple of times. Dude, I'm clicking it twice, and all of a sudden there's the X.
Okay, good.
Like, it's on it. And I'm rocking uh, not a super later version of the PS4.
Mm,
I'm probably like a Gen 2 PS4.
okay.
And yeah, I was actually surprised at how quick it does load. There is a few things. I will say this. There was a couple of moments where it did lag, and almost thought it crashed.
Mm,
It could have been user error, but nonetheless, I'm actually pleasantly surprised with the game.
okay.
Now, if you're saying that the PS5 is faster. Holy crap!
It's
So
like
you've got
I don't know exactly where you are in Miles Morales game, but there's a particular scene where you're in the sewer, or no, where you're underground, and you're transitioning through certain things, right? And you go from the underground and then you go through a vent and you're outside. I'm pretty sure there's some lag. You'll maybe get
yeah.
like a slight loading screen. No, it's you're in the PS5 version. You're underground. You zip through certain things, right? You see a vent, you zip through it, and you're outside, and you're landing on top of a post, and then you go back. Like that's it. You
All
do
right.
that. You can swing through. It's like it is. It is baffling. It is incredibly baffling how easy it is to go straight into the game. I played the Spider-Man game, right? 2018 version on
Yeah.
PS4. The load times are horrendous. Horrendous. There's virtually no loading. There's virtually no loading in the PS5 version. And I have a digital copy of it, right? Because I bought the PS5 Miles
PS4.
Morales game with the remastered on it as digital. But go back to your other point. Yeah, memory, it's terrible. Memory is terrible because I think the Miles Morales game is like 50, 60 gigs, right? And the 50, 60 gigs, no, 40 gigs, and then the Spider-Man Remastered is another 60 gigs. That's 100 gigs. My PS5 has a total of 600 gigs, 660, and I have like two more games, right? I have like I'm gonna put Ratchet and Clank in there. That's 100 gigs, right? I bought an SDD, right? By itself, which holds 4 terabytes. I have 1 terabyte already used up. Right. And so yeah, it's the biggest problem with this gen, right, across all consoles so far is memory.
Yeah.
Is memory. So that's definitely one of the biggest things. But going back into our E3 coverage, the big one,
Microsoft
Microsoft
Bethesda.
has a conference. Did you watch the whole thing or did you scroll through? Or
I
have you
kind of
watched anything?
scroll. I've scrolled through a lot of it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I sat down and watched was the I did want to watch the Forza and I just never got around to watching it. I've always been a fan of the driving games.
Yeah.
I was for the longest time a Microsoft fan because I was a Microsoft guy. I mean,
Mm.
I like Apple, but I like Bill Gates. I was a Microsoft. They were always my number two choice.
Yeah.
So I supported Xbox, even though as a kid we were Nintendo, and then we got a PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. And then I remember I switched to the Xbox
Hmm.
after I absolutely hated the original Xbox, but then I kind of grew to love it with Halo.
Yeah.
Xbox 360, then got the PS3, PS4, and I've been exclusive to Sony.
Hmm.
So I've been exclusive to Gran Turismo.
Hmm.
So Forza, I've never dove headfirst into, but I like what I see.
Hmm.
So I can only imagine what it looks like in a next gen gaming.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite. This is a a game. I think they've been working on this for over a year. I think this is another one that
Wow.
I think they've
Yeah.
learned their lesson from Cyberpunk is take their
Oh,
time.
bro. Oh,
Uh,
oh God.
I know. I went there. I freaking I opened up. I poured salt into an open wound.
Mm-mm.
Um, but the game actually, oddly enough, that I was very surprised about.
Mm.
It's not even on your list.
Mm.
Is Microsoft Flight Simulator
Oh,
coming
that's right.
to a console?
Yeah.
That's massive. That shows you the power of the Xbox Series X and whatnot, and how much power these next gen consoles are cranking out. Because
Mm.
Flight Simulator has never ever been able to be played on a console. It is so overpowering that it has to be on a
Computer.
PC.
Mm.
And but the fact that they're bringing it to the this next gen console is
Mm.
it's wow, massive.
Yeah.
But I gotta step out just for a second,
Mm.
and I'm gonna let
Sure.
JR go on the Microsoft Bethesda rant
Sure.
for here a second, and then I'll be
Ah,
back just in time.
yeah, I'll just get through like some of the things they put out, man. Again, the Microsoft Bethesda Tech conference, right? Before the Bethesda would have its own conference, but since Microsoft acquired Bethesda, was it almost like 4 or 5 months now? right? They combined the conference. They just made one huge conference. I think the entirety of the conference was about an hour and a half or so, right? So from that, they did show a bunch of games, which I give them credit for. They've showed games because in past Microsoft conferences, there's a lot of fluff. If you know what I'm talking about, there's a lot of fluff. But now they had some weight to it. Some of the games they showed: Back for Blood, Stalker 2, Harp Chernobyl, which I will say is definitely should be considered a exclusive to Xbox because it's only been on PC, and I think Stalker 1 was on the original Xbox 360, if I remember correctly. I think it was. Fallout 76, The Pit teaser, Halo Infinite overview, and the multiplayer trailer. Just quick thoughts on Halo Infinite. I know that Halo 5 got a lot of flack for it. I enjoyed it. I gotta say, I enjoyed it. It wasn't. I know people wanted Master Chief, right, because nostalgia and all that stuff, and I wanted to continue the story of Master Chief, and I know people didn't like the fact, our fans didn't dislike the fact the main bad was Cortana. I kind of liked it. To totally be honest with you, I've been more on a very character-driven, plot progression type of shtick for a while now, and Cortana is the big bad. Even though the plot leading up to that was less to be desired, more to be desired, it was still a good point for me, and I do want to see more of the Cortana now Master Chief type of thing. And
You
to
just
kind
say
of
that Cortana is the big bad?
yeah, in Halo 5, she was the big bad.
Where have I gone? The freaking
She
AI have taken over the world? Oh crap.
No, bro, that's what happened in Halo 5. Legit, that's legit what happened in Halo 5. So Halo 4, since Bungie broke away from Microsoft, they bought out their own company. They did Destiny 1 and 2. They went to Activision, right? uh the Halo brand was still a Microsoft brand, right? Their IP was still Microsoft. And so what Microsoft do, they changed that game. They gave that game, I think, to Hammer something Studios. I forgot the name of the studio that makes it now. But they did Halo 4, right? In Halo 4, Cortana came with rampancy where the average life expectancy of an AI, I think, was 7 years, and she was on year 8. And so yeah, this whole series, the majority of Halo 4 was basically to lessen things up, a, a chief trying to save Cortana and get back home to Earth, right? Uh, they fight a big bad in that game, and in order to hold this big bad from attacking Earth, she blew up the ship that she was in while transporting Chief to a marine ship in space near Earth. Now, fast forward to Halo 5. Originally, the big bad was said to be Master Chief, right? Master Chief had his own squad, and I think the squad that you played, the people that you played, was a different Marine in the game. Now, their task when you were in control was to basically take down Master Chief, right? We come to find out the reason why Master Chief was the quote unquote big bad was because he found out that if I remember correctly, the big bad from Halo 4 came to be, but actually the person controlling them was Cortana. She has a full-on body now. She has a full-on body, and she can materialize, corporealize, right?
Not good.
And like they killed her off, possibly killed her off in 4, right? People were like, "Oh, that sucks. That's a good story though." For me, I thought it was good, and but like, okay, cool. We'll see where we go from there, right? And then Halo 5, you find out near the end it's Cortana, right? And she takes over. She She takes over most of the AI in the Halo universe. She tries to stop the Halo rings, and all this stuff happens. In Halo Infinite, right? Which supposedly is taking place after Halo 5, the events of Halo 5. Master Chief wakes back up. He asks, "Where's Cortana?" And then he finds a new AI system that says, "Oh, you deleted her." He's like, "What?" Right? And that's where we come from. I enjoy a good story, right? For me, the Master Chief Cortana story has probably been a good one. For me, it's a great change from a character that has been stoic for a majority of his lifetime in the series, right? To now, like, how do you play a very stoic character that is now trying to feel type of thing, right? How do you project that? how you project that when
Yeah.
literally the closest being that's had his back forever is now MIA, or even a big bad, right? So hopefully that's what the story will get. Going back to your point to go back to your point real quick to
Yeah.
what you said about the studio kind of just harking back because of stuff, the fallout between CG Project Red and and fucking Cyberpunk. Yeah. I think we roasted the first reveal of Halo Infinite when it first came out because it looked, honestly, like, it looked bad. Not bad, but it looked like Xbox 360 type of graphics, right?
Kind of average.
Looked average, right? And that's what you're not looking for your pinnacle game on a new system, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're
Now,
talking about your franchise that pretty much launched the Xbox.
exactly. It saved the Xbox. It saved them and then pushed them forward to win a generation with the
Oh
Xbox
yeah.
360. So like,
Uh,
yeah, you want Halo to do well. And so what I think the problem was before is that they're making it a full on, I think it's a full on open world game off the bat. I think that's the reason why it looked so bad, is because it was just a full on open world game. It looks like Far Cry in the sense of, like, you go to certain places, points of the map to do objectives, right? And I'm fine with that. That's cool. It's just that that's not what you expect your top tier AAA, system selling game to look like.
yeah.
Now they're taking a year. There's gonna release that game is supposed to release next year. I think next year in 2022. Am I correctly?
I didn't see a date on it.
Yeah. Which is good because yes,
They're not.
Cyberpunk
But
2077 happened, right? And
yeah, a
then
lot of that's what I noticed too
yeah.
about a lot of these games. And this will kind of tie into JR's next point here.
I'm
Is
gonna yeah, I'm gonna go through some of the stuff and then we'll go to my point. Yeah.
okay, so again, to tease JR's big rant coming up,
Hmm.
is I almost kind of see why developers don't want to put gameplay out there so quickly and rely heavily on CG created, computer created trailer graphics. Basically, is the best way to cinematic trailer graphics. Basically,
Yeah.
using a lot of the cinematics, cutscenes and stuff like that to piece together a trailer. And basically that the reason that a lot of these developers are going with trailers rather than previewing gameplay is because the gameplay is not ready yet, and we live in a society that is like now, me, want. um that you have something like Cyberpunk, which had a massive launch, massive
Insane.
debut in 2019,
Yeah.
I think it was. And they're like, can't wait, this game's going to be sick, blah blah blah. And when it kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed, and yeah, a delay is unfortunate, okay, but you know what's even more unfortunate? A flop.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of these you're seeing with E3, because they took 2020 off, and a lot of these developers, you have to understand, is have been working from home, and they have not been allowed in their laboratories and in their research, in the research labs, in their development studios and stuff like that. So these developers have not had a chance to put together a, a big, their big games and stuff like that. So that's why I noticed a lot of these trailers, a lot of these previews have said, they have 2022, and in some cases 2023 release dates.
Yeah.
And people are going like, why are they being launched in 2021 at E3 when they're not coming out for 2 more years? Well, why not get out ahead of it? Say we're working, this is what we're going to create, a little buzz, so there is a little taste of it. Hold on, I got a live prop here. I know JR is going like, really, dude, ice cream? A little taste, give them a little taste, and then work on it, and feed them. Don't go, here's a big taste in 2019, and then dump it in summer of 2020, and it's a freaking steaming pile of dog crap. So I commend the big balls on developers for saying, this is what we got. Okay, It ain't coming out right away. And so, and then you look at Halo Infinite, like I said, I don't think there was an official launch date for it.
Inevitably, before when they first showed that one game, right? It was supposed to be the launch of the Xbox Series X. It was supposed to be during that launch, and they find out after a lot of freaking roasting from the internet, from Twitter specifically, they pushed it back, as they should, right? Because that's like, don't get me wrong, like I'm not a huge Xbox Microsoft fan, but I do know that Halo is supposed to be their top tier game, and for their top
It
tier
is. It's
game to not be put to be not given the treatment as a top tier game, doesn't matter which team you're rooting for, as long as you know that your quote unquote rival or whatever, right, should be treated with respect in that regard, right? Like, yeah, they deserve to get roasted, because if it was Bungie, if Bungie created that Halo Infinite, it'll be much vastly different. It will look incredibly better. Just let's because it's because Bungie is Bungie. They're a legendary developer too. So, but going on to the other things they showed during the event, they showed Redfall, which is a new reveal trailer, right? Which, for those of us who knew, it's basically an homage to Red Dawn, but this time it's with vampires. Okay. And it's made from Arcane Studios. Okay, and for those who know Arcane Studios, they made a Dishonored series.
Come on, computer.
Show CG trailer for that one. That's it. That is a Xbox exclusive. Atomic Heart, which, well, that looks really freaking good, man. That to me looks like a Russian version of BioShock, and that looks freaking amazing. The Outer Worlds 2 just had a reveal trailer. It was they literally said it within the trailer, saying that, yeah, all we have is this animation. That's it. We don't
At
have
least
any
they're honest.
gameplay. Even have nothing. Just this is it. This is it, guys. So yeah. And then the big one, they actually start, and the last thing on my docket, even though this is the first thing they started with, was Starfield. Starfield was, for a very long time, Bethesda's game that they were going to release, right? Like, this is supposed to be the game that they've been wanting to make for a very, very, very long time. Now, the game I'm hoping I'm hoping it's in engine. I'm hoping that it is some relevant form of gameplay. It looks CG to me. Honestly, it looks CG to me, but it's supposed to release in next year, 2022, and it's going to be an exclusive game to Xbox or to Microsoft and to PC. So a lot of all the games that was announced during the Microsoft Bethesda conference, they're all going to be on Game Pass, which is great. Really freaking good. I will give them that. Like, if you have Game Pass, you pay their $15, whatever, right? For whatever you have, whatever Xbox console you have. Hopefully it's a Series X, right? Because you can play some of these newer games. Or if you have a PC that has accessible, graphics card and all that stuff, you can play these games as well. That's an amazing value.
Yeah, and
Right?
it should be noted too that, to tie in with Game Pass, and I know that it wasn't announced because they're still working on it, is the relationship between Microsoft and Apple has kind of softened a little bit, or as they become a little bit more cohesive. Is that Microsoft just in the last couple of months has tweeted out that they are working once again with a dedicated iOS application for both the iPad and the iPhone to bring Game Pass to the Apple ecosystem.
Yeah.
Now, will it stop there and go beyond that, bring it to the Mac OS and possibly even tvOS? I don't know. And for those of you who don't know Apple, obviously, when I say iOS, it's this, the iPhone. Okay. iPad OS, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
This bad boy right here. Okay. The Mac OS is what
Vastly different.
it's exactly what it is. It's the Mac operating system for their iMac that I'm using right here, my MacBook Pro, and tvOS. You're going, what the French toast is tvOS? It is the Apple TV. And JR and I have talked about this loosely over the past year or so, that Apple very desperately wants to get into, maybe not full head on, but wants to get into the gaming industry. There is talk, we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, that out of this lawsuit between Epic Games and Apple, there's a strong possibility that Apple will probably buy Epic Games and own Fortnite and just market it themselves. Apple, of course, does have, and it's not even close to a competitor to Game Pass, but they have their own version. It's Apple Arcade. It's designed for family-friendly games and stuff like that. But they do, much like on their TV side, their TV streaming side, they need a flagship game to kind of kick them over the edge. But I think that working with Microsoft and bringing Game Pass not only to the iOS, to iPad OS and Mac OS, and possibly even tvOS, which is kind of their gaming platform, so to speak. I will say this: I am not by any stretch of the imagination a basketball fan, by no stretch of the imagination. But I will say this, and I'm not a 2K fan. NBA 2K21 on Apple Arcade looks sick. I have played it multiple times on my iPad. I've played it once on my phone. It was okay on my phone, but that's, you're playing a pretty stringent simulator on your phone, but it plays real well on my iPad. I have an iPad Pro 12.9, fourth generation that came out last year. When I played it with a PlayStation 4 Bluetooth DualShock controller, and plays pretty brilliantly. I have not played it on tvOS, but just based on what it looks like on the iPad, my hopes for Game Pass coming to the Apple ecosystem, I have high hopes for it, and I really look forward to it. So just wanted to kind of...
I got to give credit to where credit is due. Microsoft has really been trying to change the gaming ecosphere. Now, granted, how everything divvies up into like how it pays for developers, right, is another topic. And that's another topic for another day. But when you can say that, Starfield coming out 2022, right, and you immediately on Game Pass, that's a big thing, right? Outer Worlds 2, come out possibly the next 2-3 years, but immediately on Game Pass when the day comes out, that's a big thing. Forza Horizon
there you go
5, when that comes out, it's like, that's a huge thing. Now, granted, for me, I'm gonna sound very cynical when I say this, right? For me, as a heavy enthusiast into gaming, right, it makes me want to get a PC more than a Xbox.
That is oddly enough, with everyone so desperately waiting for what inevitably was the Xbox Series X or S, whatever.
Yeah.
The next gen Xbox and the PS5, people just clamoring for this over the last couple of years. Over the last month, over the last year or so since they launched, a lot of people have gone like, oh shit, for that amount of money, I could build a pretty damn good PC and get all my, get my custom controller set up and stuff like that. So I was just talking to my dad, who him and I talk investment, and I do all full transparency. I am a shareholder in Sony.
You should.
No, but my dad talks about it. He's like, I don't know. And I full transparency, I actually am a shareholder in Microsoft, to be honest. And Nintendo. But my dad was asking me about this the other day, and he goes, how come you and your brother and your sister talk about it all the time, but these gaming systems and everyone's playing games and stuff like that, like how come they just haven't launched, like gone through the roof like Apple has? Well, everyone needs a computer, and Apple is at the forefront from a branding standpoint. Not everybody needs a gaming system. Now, if this were 10-15 years ago and everyone needed a Blu-ray player, well, God, look at Sony stocks. They were freaking through the roof because the number one selling Blu-ray player on planet Earth was the PlayStation 3. Right now, people are finding that they don't need to have a PlayStation 5. They don't need to have the Xbox Series X. And because people are going, well, if I'm going to spend that much money, and I can't get it anyways. But like for those who are like, I need to have a PlayStation 5, I'll spend $1,200. They go, you know what? Buyer's remorse. If I'm gonna spend $1,200, I'm gonna go freaking build an Alienware freaking computer from the ground up.
Not Alienware, but yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but absolutely. Like for me, that's my junction. Usually before, right? The biggest reason why people bought consoles before is because you play the games that are strictly on that console, right? Halo was strictly an Xbox exclusive, Microsoft exclusive, right? You can only play that on Xbox game. But now, since I think we'd be able to play Halo 4 or 5, right? Halo 5, sorry, 5 on a PC, right? Bethesda is gonna market out to PC games, right? And whether or not I buy a Game Pass or just get the PC version of it, I'm gonna generally be probably playing the best version of the game.
Yeah.
Like this is the biggest debate before. Like, why do you buy a console over a PC? Mainly because the games are strictly exclusive to that console, right? And then not only that, but because it's a certain dedicated hardware, you can do different things. You could probably expend more. Let's be honest. As much as love as I got for PC, Xbox, all that, and all, for PCs, consoles, right? Some of the best looking games are on consoles. Period. And like people are gonna say, well, look at what's that one, Crisis 2, right? Like that's like a 20-year-old game or so now, and it still looks freaking amazing. Yeah, it does. But what about since then? I can basically bring up, all right, how about Horizon Zero Dawn? How about Halo 5? How about Gears of War 4? How about freaking, even though it's a walking simulator, Hideo Kojima's last game, Death Stranding. That game is freaking beautiful, and that is also on PC too now, though. Like usually you the console because most of the console games probably had some of the best graphics at the time.
Yeah.
Right. And now, since that line is blurred with Microsoft and PC, I'm looking to, instead of like putting $500 on an Xbox Series X, maybe take that, invest that into possibly, going up to maybe a 1,000, maybe a 15, maybe even a $2,000 PC, which I'll probably use for 10 to 15 years. Like that for me is a better option. Granted, okay, I will say there's gonna be people that are gonna just want an Xbox Series X or a PS5 because they don't want to deal with PC settings and all that stuff, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah,
absolutely fine. I'm talking about it as an enthusiast, right? As an enthusiast that wants to, play freaking Escape from Tarkov, who wants to play, the highest version settings of Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, 2077, right? And from all points figured out, people are saying that, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 works when you have a high processing computer. Like the highest tiers of computers, PCs, high-end PCs can run Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Like I want to get to that type of thing because, like, yeah, I want to, and of course, other things on the side, right? But going from that point to my rant, please
be prepared. This is going to get ugly, folks.
I'm pretty sure I talked about this a while back when we were talking about video games, and I don't know if it's me being older and cynical, but
no, I don't think so.
Please, developers, please stop fucking showing CG trailers. I'm tired.
It's really annoying. It's really annoying.
Bro, like, and I don't know if it's because it's Microsoft. Microsoft has a tendency of doing this shit in their.
No, it's not just them.
Like I'm trying to look through like the things that Sony has done as well, and maybe it's because I've been spoiled with Sony conferences, because like the last couple of years when Sony was still at E3, I think circa 2016, right? They showed nothing but gameplay. Like there was that one couple of years where maybe a person comes on stage and says, hey, I'm the CEO of this, blah, blah, blah. Here's every fucking game. No break in between. Like Horizon came out. Cool. After Horizon, Last Guardian. All right, cool. Next game. God of War. Nothing but fucking gameplay. Nothing but just gameplay. I think I've been spoiled from that. And now I see just fucking all these CG trailers. And don't get me wrong, it's good to be hyped about a game. Arcane Studios doing Redfall, cool. People fucking shouting that that's the game of the fucking show is the most asinine thing. You have yet to see gameplay, and you're basing your opinion off the aspect that it's Arcane Studios. It's gonna be good. I'm
I,
I'm getting sick and fucking tired of all these quirky ass characters doing these quirky ass things in front of like death and destruction behind them. I'm getting sick and tired of it, man. I don't know. It's because Overwatch did this bullshit when they first came out and continually been doing it, but it has nothing to do with your actual gameplay. Like,
it's not even cutscene stuff either. Like they're just showing. It's like it's kind of the Avengers effect. And I don't mean the game. I mean the movie is like
yeah,
there was so much stuff
oh,
that was in the trailer for like for example Avengers Infinity War.
mhm.
People to this day get so pissed that there was like 10 or 12 major cuts in
Mm.
Infinity War that were in the trailer that never even came close to coming to fruition in the actual movie, including the big, huge
Running through the thing
the
with Hulk.
running through the thing with the Hulk, like that
Yeah,
that scene
never
never
seen.
showed up.
Mm.
So I I've
Oh,
seen that, and JR, you're not wrong, and there's no excuse for it except for laziness.
right.
I think the developers and the developers will sit there and they'll blame their bosses that they don't pay me enough, and they have these unreachable deadlines, and
Yeah,
yada yada yada, and
I do. I do think specifically like I think it's pretty rampant in gaming in the gaming industry, where like when a big event happens, right, is going to happen and is on a docket and you're a presenter there, yeah, you're gonna probably breathe down the necks of all your fucking developers and say, hey, we need something from you. Give us a reason why we're still giving you money to show us something, anything, right? And this my point for this is freaking like near like I'm reading through all of the exclusive, right? The full-on exclusives, right? Even though there's a bunch of games during the Bethesda conference, the Microsoft Bethesda conference is also coming to PS5, right? Their main exclusives: Starfield, Outer Worlds 2, Atomic Heart, Contraband, um, Horizon Zero 5, even though we've seen gameplay of that, Sea of Thieves, even though we've seen gameplay of that, Redfall, Halo Infinite Overview, right? Out of all those ones, what? One, two,
there was not a
three,
lot of gameplay
four.
videos of
Yeah,
it.
no, four of them were CGI trailers. Were just CG
Yeah,
trailers, right? The ones that had gameplay was gameplay we already seen to a certain extent,
yeah,
right? And don't get me wrong, Sony has done this before as well, right? A
they've
lot of
all
other
done
fucking
it.
studios, they all fucking
Nintendo's
done it,
done it.
and it irritates me because like it's given this effect of like, oh, that's how the game should gonna look like, or that's how the game might play. But post fucking Cyberpunk 2077 atrocities, right? How the game is not gonna fucking look and all that shit, right? It's irritating to see, man, how how people just need a freaking headline. I understand that you need to drum up some hype, some type of excitement
Yeah,
for your console, for whatever, right? For people to be excited for the future, but show it when it's in some semblance or some form, man. Like if have you ever heard of Overwatch, Kevin? The game Overwatch?
yeah, yeah.
You ever seen any of those cinematics?
They don't
Any of
get
those
anything like
cinematics?
uh
Like any like the CG trailers or anything like that?
uh in passing. Yeah.
Does not play like that at all.
No, I don't. I
Mm,
don't doubt it one bit.
like there's a particular scene, right, where there's a, I guess, the mascot of the game, Tracer, right? She has this particular ability where she's able to zip through, well, time in one sense, right? But like she's able to like really full on zip through the space, kind of like what's her name from the main evil villain as girl from Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ghost, right?
Yeah,
Kind
yeah,
of like
yeah.
her, right? Kind of with that. In the game, nothing like that. Absolutely nothing like that. Nothing. It's like just it's and that's my viewpoint, where like you see CG trailers like Redfall, right? And you think the game's gonna play like that. It's probably not. And
Yeah.
it gives us, and for me, it gives up this false fucking sense of hope, a sense of like not achievement, but this sense of like expectation, right? Of a game should play this certain way. But when it doesn't, when it falls fucking severely flat, it is is gonna just piss me the fuck off. And that's the reason why, like, I actually give credit to Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite. They showed their crappy ass game. They showed their gameplay, which is very much like Halo, but it's crappy ass graphics, right? But overall, the core gameplay is still Halo. You know
Yeah.
what you're getting. You know what you expect. Granted, it should look better, but that was the worst criticism. It looks horrible. That can be fixed. That's fine. They showed us gameplay at least.
Yeah.
At least. And that is my problem specifically with these bigger studios. If Nintendo does it tomorrow, dude, I'm gonna flip my desk. If Nintendo does it tomorrow, I'm gonna flip my fucking
Which
desk.
is what I'm really concerned about, because the rumored game footage that they are coming out for, and as we record this, it's Monday night, um, on June 14th, of course. June 15th, not only the final day of E3, the day that Nintendo returns to E3. Obviously, it's the day that California reopens.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, this Nintendo has been the most talked about kind of bullet point to the weekend, and for them to pull what a lot of these studios have done over the weekend, they're gonna eat shit.
I mean,
The rumor, real quick, the rumor going around that they are going to launch tomorrow is, from a gaming standpoint, is going to be a new Super Smash Brothers. There is talk that we will finally get a sneak peek at the sequel to Zelda Breath of the Wild. We also possibly could be getting some news on some of the on the existing Disney, or sorry, Nintendo franchises like Pokemon Sword and Shield. Also could be getting an update to Animal Crossing New Horizon. Also could be getting new updates on Pokemon Brilliant Pearl and Shining Diamond or something like that. Anyways, the remakes of Diamond and Pearl, which are coming out in November, and also maybe an update on Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is scheduled for January 2022. But the biggest news is there's talk about finally unveiling the Nintendo Switch Pro. I have no idea what that device means, nor do I want to speculate. There are so many speculation videos out there, and I guarantee you 110% of them are going to be wrong. So I'm not even going to join in. But what I will tell you is, if they do not come out with some kind of gameplay action, especially for the Pokemon games, I really think that they're going to just it's going to be a dud of an E3, and it's going to be the death nail for this conference, which is already on life support. With that said, JR, I 100% support what you say. I get why studios do it, but it's laziness. It's purely 100% laziness. If you have nothing to show, don't fucking show it.
Here's it, and just to get people off my fucking back by saying my fucking Sony shill or some bullshit like that. Sony did this shit too. When they had that, even after when I said, like, they had freaking gameplay after gameplay after gameplay. There's this one Sony event that they had their own conference for, when they finally revealed Last of Us Part 2, right? Nothing but CG, and it was nothing but hype. Don't get me wrong, I was super excited for it, right? Because I knew what to expect with a Last of Us video game, right? Even though there was just one, and just seeing Ellie, but older Ellie, in front of Joel, great thing, great pop. But yeah, Sony definitely fucking does it too, right? And they should be called out for when that happens, because I'm getting sick and fucking tired. I'm getting sick and fucking tired, dude, of this.
It doesn't matter if it's
bullshit,
Microsoft. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're Microsoft, Sony, Square Enix. If you're whoever, you are a game. You go to Comic-Con, okay? When you go to Comic-Con, okay, you want to see fucking comic books, okay? You want to see comic book movies. You don't want to see preview magazine. You want to see a finished product, or even a sketch of this, okay? Show me a sketch of what you're working on. On a movie, we want to see footage, okay? We don't want to see test footage. We don't want to see we don't want to see storyboards, okay? We want to see footage. When you're a video game conference, we want to see footage. If you don't have footage, then don't agree to come to the damn conference. Make room for the company that does have footage. Okay. With that said,
I will actually one more last thing. I will add to that, and I didn't want to take away from your awesome rant there. The only test footage that we will fucking accept is in the style of Deadpool. when he did that hidden ass test footage bullshit, where like they showed a full on scene of him and him at the highway. That's the only time. That's the only time.
Yeah.
But
with that said, let's go to the studio who wowed us with Marvel's Avengers a couple of years ago with CGI, and then gameplay went. Now, actually, I will say I actually enjoyed Marvel's Avengers to an extent. It did lack in substance a little bit, but for the most part, Marvel's Avengers is exactly what JR and I are talking about. Came to the table with a trailer, test footage, cinematics, which the cinematics of Marvel's Avengers are pretty cool. I think that if they would have showed game footage and let it breathe and let the fans react, you would not have put out the game that they did. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan looks phenomenal. Clint Barton looks okay. Kate Bishop looks fantastic. The Hulk, okay. Captain America, meh. Black Widow, meh. Iron Man, meh.
Yeah, I mean,
Thor, not bad. Okay.
No.
Black Panther, I don't know. The Marvel's Avengers War for Wakanda Black Panther trailer did come out with mostly trailer-esque kind of cinematics, but there was some gameplay.
Yeah.
And I will say the gameplay looks good. The gameplay looks better than the cinematics. And I will say that the costume of the Black Panther looks a little over the top.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the things that this game tried so desperately was to make their own mark with the costumes and stuff like that, and be a little bit more of the, as the quote, gamerverse, as opposed to the cinematic universe or the actual comic book universe. Comic book, they tried to do a gamerverse version of it. So whatever. Costumes were a little
it was weird.
I
will say I had this conclusion when I came to the conclusion I'm getting to right now when I found out the reason why a lot of the footwork or type of thing, right, the content that was supposed to go with Marvel Avengers, why there was bone dry for a long time. The main reason why they were working on fucking Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, and again, those who don't, again, we'll get to that in just a second. Real quick, Worlds of Avenger, War of Wakanda, not only will bring Black Panther to the Avengers as downloadable content, it is rumored that part of this package will also include, it's a possibility it could add Shuri. Not 100% sure on that yet, but she looked good in the game. And a different take on Ulysses Claw too, which looks pretty good. So that game will be free for those of you who have Marvel Avengers, the video game, for the PlayStation and Xbox. It did not give an actual release date, but it is coming soon. I would imagine sometime this summer. Moving right along, the game that looks a little bit of Spider-Man and a little bit of Marvel's Avengers is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, they started off with a trailer. And then they got right into not one, not two, not three, not five, not 10, but over 11 minutes of straight from the console game footage. And it looks sick. It looks like a lot of fun. I think that, Jared, the best way to describe it is it's a team-up game the way Marvel's Avengers was meant to be. You have a group of heroes working together, common characters. By the way, it is the movie team of Star-Lord, Gamora, Rocket, Groot, and Drax. Okay, so it is the movie team up. However, if you're looking for the aesthetics, the look, the cosmetics of
Bit
the
different.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you're
Yeah.
looking for Chris Pratt, you're not going to get it. If
No.
you're looking for Zoe Saldana, you're not going to get it. If you're looking for Dave Bautista, you're not going to. This
No.
is very much ripped from the comic book
Yeah.
version of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Basically, the reason why you're not getting Chris Pratt, they're too expensive.
They're too expensive, but Marvel Entertainment very much wants to help not only promote it's a wink crossover with the movie, and, so to speak, as in it's bringing that group of the Guardians of the Galaxy that we know,
Yeah.
but it's not the character that we know. That's why I think a lot of people were disappointed with the Marvel Avengers game. Was they were expecting Chris Evans, they were expecting Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, Tony. They were expecting Robert Downey Jr. It's funny. I say all the actors for all the other characters, and I get to Iron Man, I immediately just go,
Chris Hemsworth.
No, I just say Tony Stark, because Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark are exactly the freaking same.
Oh,
it's hard for me to look at Robert Downey Jr. now and not say Tony. But nonetheless,
yeah,
it looks a lot of fun. I mean, the best way to describe it is it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks like the game. It looks like Avengers if it had another year.
Yes.
And that's fine. That's good. Like, that's how you're supposed to come out of the game. And I will try to give Marvel, some slack, because, like, yeah, this is their first foray. Marvel Avengers was their first foray into game development, right? To a certain extent, right? And so they're kind of going from scratch to a certain extent. They're basically going from scratch at a certain point. And sure, we'll try to give them some leeway. Granted, honestly, they should have just fucking went to Sony because Spider-Man. They should just went to them and say, "Hey, just make our Avengers game for us." They should have just done that, because if that happened, you probably would either been with Insomniac or another developer from Sony to make you really good games with engaging storylines and engaging stories.
And there was talk that was something they were going to do, but there was rights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It is still a possibility. The one character that has not yet been unveiled in the Marvel's Avengers game, of course, we are getting Black Panther very, very soon, if not real soon, is we have not yet get Spider-Man. Now, the PlayStation owners, the game owners that played on PlayStation were supposed to get Spider-Man as a free download, and it was supposed to be the actual Marvel's Spider-Man from PlayStation version. It was supposed to be that's Red Dead Redemption. Here we go. It was going to be this version of Spider-Man. Like that version of Spider-Man was going to be in Marvel Avengers. So when that's going to happen, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I will say that this game right here, I know did this technically come out in 2020?
Yeah.
It's still game of the year right here.
Yeah.
But
it's just from that, like, Marvel's Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy looks like it's a good game. Hopefully, I know there's been controversy about the fact that, like, oh, I can't, if we don't get Spider-Man, we won't get Spider-Man for an Xbox, it's exclusive rights, all that stuff. I hope that there is some type of workaround, because it'd be nice to see Spider-Man anywhere overall. So hopefully that will be the case. Go on, just continue on. Just
real quick. Guardians of the Galaxy October release. So they are getting its pre-orders are available now. Guardians of the Galaxy comes out at the end of October. I'm definitely going to be getting the game. Cool. Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. And just to kind of wrap things up, guys, this is technically a Square Enix event. Life is Strange, True Colors, it came out. Life is Strange is actually one of their flagship titles too now for Square Enix, so that's cool. So the next iteration of that game, they did the reveal trailer. Looks very much we expect from a Life is Strange game. Next one I put down just for the freaking lulz of it. Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin official trailer.
Terrible. I'll post a trailer for you guys to be the judge of at PS Comics I Love You on Facebook. Yeah.
Facebook. All right. Like I feel like I feel like this is what Japanese people think of Americans in a certain extent. Be like, how us as Americans, even though I'm Asian American, we have a certain privacy. Like, okay, white Americans, right? Caucasian Americans, what they think of Japanese people or what they think of Asian people, right? There's going to be certain cliches in there, right? Involved, right? I feel like if you watch a trailer, this was every cliche American type of thing, like the super edge lord. I want to just kill and destroy. I'm here to, the gruff
Yeah.
guy that doesn't really say much, and his friends just say whatever, right? Like a lot of cliches. I put that because, like, oh my god, I had to put it down. Like this might be the worst trailer of the event for me,
It
man.
was. It
And
was
it's
pretty
just
bad.
funny. It's funny because it's coming from a big developer, Square Enix. Like I mean, they had some cringy ass stuff in the past, but like this is super bad for me. And the last one, Solstice, is official announcement trailer. For me, it's a less annoying version of the previous game, Strangers of Paradise. For those of us who are in the know, it reminds me of Near Automata, but the player or the little automaton that's by you is actually played by a ghost, a soul of a ghost person. So that's freaking cool. And the main character is a female, is a woman who reminds me of Guts, Berserker from Berserk. Or for those who are full on Japanese manga enthusiasts, right? Guts and Berserk. Basically, I think his name is Pike and Guts, but female versions, and that looks just freaking amazing. So it's done by a French studio, a Japanese-esque looking game with Japanese undertones, made by a French studio. So that's cool.
Be
Yeah,
right back.
yeah. But just I'm gonna say I'm gonna go back. Once you're doing that, think about best trailers, best announcement, and then things you're excited for when you come back. So yeah, what we got so far, guys. For me, to wrap things up, the best trailer for me, what has to be Elden Ring. Has to be. Elden Ring looks freaking phenomenal, and I love From Software. I really do. It looks really freaking good. I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones. I'm a huge fan of George R. R. Martin. I I'm pretty sure this is an open world style game, even though the previous Dark Souls games have been semi open world, right? But this looks freaking huge. Best announcement trailer for me, probably it was during the Microsoft event, Atomic Heart. That game was freaking good, man. Oh, so since you're back, bro, best trailer
Yes,
and
sir.
best announcement for you.
You know, because I only got to see a little bit of it. And I'm still kind of sifting through some of the trailers, but as of right now, as a recording, I would say the best trailer probably, it's gonna sound really silly. The best trailer I thought actually was the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm an old school Microsoft guy. I played that game way back on Windows like 95, when it was just a real basic game. I really have always enjoyed Flight Simulator. When I was working at Best Buy, it actually made me want to get a PC and get the whole shebang with the joystick and the yoke and all this stuff. Um, it was just a really clean looking trailer and had some pretty good gameplay, but I think it was another one of those that was kind of like a lot that was more cinematics than there was gameplay.
Cool.
But at the same time, is that's what Flight Simulator is. It's pretty, you get what you get.
Yeah.
But from a gameplay, I really was impressed with Guardians of the Galaxy. I had low expectations for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Good.
I figured with how quickly it came out after Marvel's Avengers, that it was going to be another flop. But little did I know, doing all the research, they've actually been working on Guardians of the Galaxy longer than Avengers at Square Enix. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And the worst trailer obviously had to have been Strangers of Paradise. The best announcement I would have to say is that's tough because I think the biggest announcement's coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think that's with the Nintendo. If the Switch
Yeah.
Pro does get announced, that's probably going to be the biggest announcement of the show.
Cool. Wait,
I
let me take it back real quick. I just totally fucking forgot about this one. The best announcement for me, the Xbox mini fridge.
Yeah, and I'll post that. JR did post it out for those
Dude,
the Microsoft, when the Xbox Series S and Series X came out last year, Microsoft sent out to a bunch of of content creators and
Mhm.
YouTube producers a full size
Fridge.
full size fridge
Yeah.
that looked like an Xbox. Now,
Mhm.
later on, there were a few that got a mini fridge. Now they
Mhm.
weren't for sale. It sounds like the mini fridge is going to go on sale.
Yeah.
Jr sent me a video. I'll see if I can also get that
Yeah.
online.
What?
That looks
Yeah.
pretty
Actually,
cool.
yeah.
So
What happened was that like all things that happen for a company to engage in it, Twitter roasted the hell out of them. Right? So Twitter roasted the hell out of the Xbox One Series X, right? For looking kind of like a mini fridge, right? And then so there's all these memes of like Xbox Series X looking like a mini fridge, right?
it
So
does.
what did Microsoft do? They rolled with it and they gave enthusiasts and influencers Xbox, Microsoft X mini fridges, right?
Yeah, I had no problem with
Straight
that.
to
I thought it was
size,
hilarious.
which is fine. And then just recently, there was this Twitter forum, Twitter type of thing where like for like tweets of a certain month or whatever, and if Microsoft won, they have promised that, all right, cool. So if we win, we're gonna make we're gonna put in production the Xbox Series X mini fridge. They won the
There
tweet
you go.
battle, and they say, all right, we gotta keep our word. It's gonna be in production. So that type of engagement is cool. I give Microsoft super credit for that, man. That type of
Yeah,
engagement with your fans, basically for them roasting you and you rolling with it.
yeah.
Like, all right, cool, we'll do it. You guys want a mini fridge? We'll give you a mini fridge. Sure. And so I've been looking to get a mini fridge for a very long time, and I just might get an Xbox
There
Series
is,
X mini fridge.
and maybe I'll get one for here in this very
Yeah.
room that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
But that does bring us to a close. What we expected out of
Yeah.
E3, I think we kind of got. I know it's technically not over by the time this drop. By the time we record this, it's not over. We have a day
Yeah.
left, and by the time this drops, it'll probably be right on par with the ending of E3.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And
what do I
if most,
expect from
yeah.
what? Again, being looking into the future, what do I expect from tomorrow? A lot of gameplay from
Mhm.
Nintendo. I think that that's
Oh,
something
here's
that
hoping,
they've
man.
lacked on.
Oh God.
I'm fingers crossed, hoping for Breath of the Wild 2,
Mhm.
hoping for possibly an update to uh, what's it called? Animal Crossing. Though I think that's going to be a stretch. And I'm not like overtly excited about a possibility of a new Super Smash Brothers, but I know that there are a lot of fans out there that they've been wanting an
Yeah.
update to it. So maybe that's what's coming out.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
that's my expectations for
Yeah.
tomorrow.
What I my the most thing I'm excited for, honestly, is well, probably this game right here. Yankina
Yeah.
Bridge. I freaking love the look of this game. I looked up Ember Labs and I'm buying a bunch of their I'm gonna buy a bunch of their stuff. Like these little things right here, they're called rots. I'm buying plushies of them.
There
They
you
have
go.
them in their store. I'm fucking buying plushies of them. I don't care. Come at me. I'm buying their shot glass. I'm buying all that stuff, man. And I
Well,
want Sony to freaking buy this company and just give them money to do whatever the hell they want. These guys are top tier Pixar level S like CG company.
yeah,
They're like, I just want Sony as a company, not PlayStation, as a company to buy them and say, you know what, we as animators, we kind of suck. Even though we had some good CG movies in the past, right? Like the Ratchet and Clank movie that we did, right, with Insomniac Games, could have had these guys working on it. That'd be great. So we're
yeah,
gonna buy them and just do that. Just do that. So I just want them to do that. Ember Lab is a really freaking great developer. They're working on their second game right now for PlayStation 5, just strictly for PS5. And yeah, I'm excited for this fucking game because it like reminds me of a Studio Ghibli movie while looking like a Pixar movie. So I'm super excited for this. And for tomorrow, for what we expect, I'm keeping my expectation low, but I'm hoping good things from Nintendo. So here we go. We'll definitely give you guys an update on that. We'll
yeah,
probably are with our main line. We'll probably in the news and notes with our mainline show for this upcoming Sunday. I think we're gonna just still be doing Loki. We're gonna still do the bonus episode for just Loki, but it'll just strictly just be Loki.
yeah,
If I think that's the correct thing. But other than that, man, yeah, eh, I I'm glad it's only been 2 hours or so. And bro, if we did the full 8 pages, what I did,
it would have got nuts.
it would have been longer. So yeah. But here's hoping that the rest of E3 is gonna be just smooth sailing and we get some good stuff from Nintendo. But again, guys,
Yeah,
thank you very
fingers
much.
crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you again. Thanks guys again for all the support, for all you do, all the questions you guys ask both of us. And I have been actually getting some people want to come on the show that are friends of the show, uh, and I gotta vet them. But yeah, again, guys, thank you very much for your support. Please continue to follow us on our social medias. He is, of course,
I'm Kevin Pillow at Voice of Reason 23, and the guy over there is
Jrs Cabacungan, aka the Dark King. And you can find us on all of our socials, PS Comics I Love You on Facebook, Instagram, PS Comics I Love letter U on Twitter, of course. You could definitely, if you have any questions about us, definitely send your questions to our email, PS Comics I Love You. What was Gmail? Was it Gmail or is it
PS Comics I Love You.
Gmail?
I think it's
Podcast
at gmail.com. Yeah.
Gmail.com, guys. And again, thank you very much. We will hopefully, fingers friggin' crossed, I'll be getting a laptop pretty friggin' soon and helping out a lot more editing, and we're going to pump out a lot of videos out, guys.
Yeah,
But
and of course,
but,
coming up this week, obviously Loki episode 2, and then probably a full wrap up of E3 later on this week with whatever Nintendo's coming out. And yeah, I think that's about it. And again, like and subscribe our YouTube channel. Find it by searching PS Comics I Love You or Voice of Reason 23. And again, anywhere you listen to podcasts, search out PS Comics I Love You. Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor.fm, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. Again, guys, thank you so much. I'm Kevin Pillow. He's Jrs Cabacungan. As always, be nice to everybody out there. Be safe. And as always, peace.
Cool, man.